The voice of Monday Night Football, Sean McDonough, joining us. Sean, were you shocked how bad the New York Giants looked?
No, I really wasn't. I mean, it's been that way for quite a while now. As we mentioned at the top of the telecast, the last 7 games entering last night, they had failed to score 20 points and didn't look very good while doing that. So, no, it wasn't really a surprise at all. It's just more of the same that's really been the same for quite some time.
Ziggy Ansah, the standout player on the defensive line. Was it about Ansah's performance or a little bit more about Eric Flowers struggling on the offensive line?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. Ansah's a terrific player. He had a bad year last year. He had an ankle injury early in the season, never really recovered. But, the year before that, he led the NFC in sacks. And he's just a terrific specimen, really powerful and quick. That's a tough combination for anybody, but it's particularly a tough combination for a guy like Flowers, who obviously has struggled for a while now. I think John Gruden and I were both a little bit surprised that they really didn't try to give him more help, whether it's putting a tight end over there, having a back chip him or something. They left Flowers alone a high percentage of the time, and we all saw how that worked out.
Sean McDonough with us right now. Sean, we appreciate you joining us. We know you're traveling. You mentioned...
No worries. I'm sorry if I'm a little out of breath. I'm just actually walking through the Phoenix airport. Our game next week is in Arizona, and I just landed here in Phoenix. So I'm walking to the baggage claim. So I apologize if
Sean,
I'm a little winded as we go here, but we're multitasking.
Sean, I'm a heavy guy. I'm always out of breath. This is just a normal conversation for me. Now, when Gruden is sitting there breaking down that game, sitting next to you, I've had a lot of Giants fans start to talk about the next step. It didn't look like Eli's done, right?
No. I think it's a little early to make that. I think you could start to make the case that his skills might be eroding a little bit, but I also think it would be natural to assume that he might be a little bit gun shy. I mean, he's constantly under pressure. I do think there are times when he almost seems to be anticipating a rush that isn't there. We had a game last year on Monday night in Minnesota where it was almost like he was spiking the ball into the ground when there wasn't anybody close enough to sack him within the next second or two. So, he's some of it's probably self-preservation, but to be totally fair, you guys watched the game last night. He also takes some tremendous shots. He took a couple last night that you almost wondered if he was going to get back up. So, he's 36. I don't think he's as good as he once was. He feels like he is. He says he still feels like he can throw the ball the way he always has and do the other things the way he always has. But, I think he's certainly closer to the end, obviously, than the beginning. And I think right now, he's more part of the problem than he is the solution. But it's a collaborative effort. You talked about the line. Eli, by his own admission, he said after the Dallas game, I need to be better. And obviously those receivers need to be better. They brought Brandon Marshall in to do a job, and he's been non-existent.
Odell Beckham Jr., take us through the time frame when you guys found out he's actually going to be out there and playing, and what type of impact you thought he may have had last night.
Well, we met with him Saturday. We generally get with the home team on Saturday in their facility and then visit with the visiting team when they get to their hotel on Sunday. So we met with him Saturday. At that time, he thought he was 80% or better. That really the only thing he couldn't do was drive off his left foot because it was his left ankle that was bothering him, and that might be a problem, particularly if he lines up on the left when he's trying to run a slant and cut off that leg. But he wanted to play. He had practice on Thursday, so I think they were all optimistic that he would play, but it was the same thing as the week before in Dallas. It wasn't really decided until he came out, a couple hours before the game and ran around. You could tell, I think, then he was going to play. He looked like he was moving around very well. You could also tell very quickly that Janoris Jenkins was not going to play. I mean, he was really hobbling around to the point where I wonder if he'd be able to play next week, too, because that didn't look like something that was going to heal immediately, and that's a big loss. You're talking about a Pro Bowl cornerback, and instead, Eli Apple had to play more, and they were without their middle linebacker, so they had some challenges on defense. I thought, again, the defense really did a pretty good job against a talented offensive team. 7 points for Detroit obviously came on the punt return, and they didn't get much complimentary football help from the offense. So I thought despite the key injuries, the defense was actually pretty good.
All right, so we talk about injuries, and when you got injuries, you got a potential for return. What do you think the potential of this team long term? Are they possibly a playoff team, or are they going to fall the way of the 0-2 teams what usually do?
Well, we mentioned last night the numbers are against them. I think it's 10.5% of 0-2 teams something like 13 out of 124 since 2002 have made the playoffs. So the odds aren't much in their favor, although there have been 0-2 teams each of the last 4 years make the playoffs, including the Dolphins last year. So it's doable. That having been said, I think the way this bunch is playing right now, it's not doable, because if you can't score 20 points, you're not going to win very often. They managed to win because of the great defense last year, enough to make it to the playoffs. But, I don't think that's going to happen again this year the way they're playing. So if I had to guess right now, I'd say no. And then they're also in a division now. Dallas is obviously what Dallas is. Philadelphia looks to me to be an improved team. Washington's better, I think, or at least as good, and they almost made the playoffs last year. So, they're in a tough division. They're off to a tough start, and they got a lot of problems that don't look like they're going to be solved anytime soon. And then when you add the coach finger-pointing at star players rather than pointing the finger inward at himself, I think that potentially is a combustible situation, especially when you have a lot of strong personalities like they do.
You guys on week 3 will have the Cowboys and the Cardinals on Monday Night Football. And even though it's not even week 3 yet, I'm enjoying the broadcast. I love the Gruden grinder at the end. Coach is always bringing the intensity. Is he like that off camera, the way he is on camera?
Yes, and it's exhausting. I just spent 4 days with him, and I need a nap. Yeah, he is. He's energetic. I don't know anybody who loves football more than he does. Football coaches love football to the nth degree, but he might even take it to another level that I didn't even know existed. And he's just passionate about everything he does. He's a great husband. He's a great father. He's been a great friend to me. It's one of the real treats of this whole thing since I got the job over a year ago is, getting to know him and becoming his friend. He's your friend. He's very passionately involved in being your friend. So I think the guy's awesome, and it's part of the big part of the fun for me about doing it. And he's a fun guy to be around. But you have to be able to match his energy level, and usually on Tuesdays, between the game and all the emotional investment that you make into doing that, and just the concentration and the preparation time that goes into it, the adrenaline flow that you expend during the game, and then being with Gruden for 4 days, I'm usually pretty wiped out on Tuesday, and today is no exception.
All right, Sean, we appreciate you, staving off the nap and running through the airport and talking to us. Thank you for making time.
It's very exciting here, and I'm having the real thrill of watching. I'm sure any of your listeners who fly occasionally, I'm watching bags go around the carousel. It's it's kind of hypnotic almost. So I'm enjoying the heck out of myself right now. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oddly enough, that's usually what they compare the show experience to. So it works.
It is. It's eerily hypnotic.
All right, Sean, man, we really appreciate you. Get some rest, brother.
My pleasure, guys. Anytime.